What are your plans, Luke?
The account of the life of Jesus. You indicated that you've been receiving my letters.
Yes, of course I have. I'm only sorry.
The following is a paid political program. Now it's time for Voice of an Independent Nation. And here's your host, David W. Bowen.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome you once again back to our show. We're at 856-765-1240 if you want to give us a call. It's Voice of an Independent Nation. Today's topics are going to be, we have a couple different things to talk about. The main thing I want to talk about today is, as you know, I'm running for Congress in our district. My name's David W. Bowen, as I said. The website is www.davidwbowen.com. I'm running for Congress in District 2. Please go on my website to go over a few things, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me in any way, shape, or form. What I'd like to talk to you about today is, I've had a pretty busy weekend. Just yesterday we had an editorial forum that was quite interesting. All the candidates that I'm running against were there, and we had a large discussion. It took us about an hour and a half or so, and we covered a lot of topics on what today's issues are and what everyone's platform is. And it was kind of interesting to see firsthand. You read about it and all that, but it was kind of interesting to see firsthand exactly what everybody was saying and what they were doing. And there were a lot of differences, but there were a lot of similarities too. One of the things I do want to point out is at no point did anyone talk about education, and that was going to be my conversation today, and it kind of surprised me that not one candidate talked about education, and I find it very important in today's day and age with today's society. And it was shocking that no one did talk about it. Again, as I said, I do believe it is very important for our economy to bolster education, not just short term, but also long term. As I may have mentioned before, I had a conversation with one of the big people with NJEA, the New Jersey Education Association, one of the directors there. And what she was telling me was, she gave me a list of all the things, and what she was telling me was that back in 2008, the government, not the federal government, the state government voted and passed a bill that set guidelines on how much each community would receive for their education. And since they've passed that bill and enacted it, they have not accommodated what they said they were going to do. And if you realize, if you think back, if you're part of your educational system at all, you realize, like in my district alone, not District 2, I'm talking about my school district, they let go of 40 people within our own schools. And they were key personnel, very valuable. And as you know, the school system's already running short-handed, but yet they let go of 40 people. And I just found that quite awkward. And it was actually debilitating towards our students. And you know my philosophy with that our kids are getting out of high school after doing well in school throughout their years, and then if they decide to go to college, they have to take remedial classes just to bring them up to par. And that's where our governments and our school systems are forced to pass this on to our children, because they just don't have the budget and the resources to take care of our children and teach them properly. Our children are just getting by. They're not excelling as much as they want to, because there just isn't anything there. And when, my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law are in the educational system, and I know for a fact that they have to take money out of their own pocket just to contribute for supplies within their own classrooms. To me, that just doesn't seem right. They should have everything made available for them. There's no reason for it. We're spending billions and billions of dollars on all these other programs where $16 trillion deficit, and we can't even put money into for our educational system, the money that it needs. I mean, that would be the one thing I would think that we need to overspend on, if anything. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. If you want to call in, please do so, 856-765-1240. Otherwise, I just was shocked that, like I said, the forum that we had yesterday, no one talked about that. And when I said we need to deal with this on a two-part system, we need to take care of a few problems now. For one, we need to make the guidelines for our educational system a little bit more stringent so the kids are learning a little bit more. But that's going to be a process that takes 20 years or so for the kids to get through. What we have to do today is make sure the resources are available today. That being the right books in the classrooms, current books in the classrooms, all the paper and pencils and everything that we need, but as well as any electronic devices, computers. You know, some schools don't even have computers that could be spread around. My school district happens to be the exception because everybody has an iPad. So I think that's awesome. But at the same token, not every school is like that. There are schools out there that are suffering. And the thing is, if a kid forgets their homework at school, all we have to do is pull it up on the computer and we have it. So there's no second guessing yourself. I mean, it just depends on the school system. And like I said, when I spoke with the director, she was telling me about how the school systems are not getting the proper money that they need. And we need to notify our local authorities, our government officials, and say, hey, listen, you need to start stepping up and say, pay what the districts need so they can take care of our children, because that's the key thing. Economic growth is going to do well in certain areas, but it will do much better if our people are educated. You know, we're lacking. We used to be ahead of the whole world, and now we're starting to lack because we're not emphasizing on the maths and the sciences. I mean, over the past 40 years, I know the time I've been in school, longer than 40 years, but the school system has gone downhill, and they admit that. The thing is, how are we going to correct that? And I think we need to give an overhaul to the educational system, allow the states more right to change their curriculum, and make the adjustments necessary. And part of that being, we need to applaud the good teachers. We need to get rid of the bad teachers. You know, because basically, like anybody, people just lose their urge to excel, and it's just time to go. I don't see that too much of a problem. I've only heard extreme cases, but at the same token, I think it is out there. In my school district, we have a lot of good teachers that went above and beyond what they should have, even with my own children, and I applauded them, and I mean, these people are great. We love them. But, I mean, it's always nice to go back to the school and let the teachers see how your kids look today if they haven't seen them for 5 or 6 years, and they're just amazed to how your kids change. I mean, take a look at your own kids. But anyway, getting back to the educational thing, we do need to start implementing some tech resources in there. Computers, make them available. I mean, Microsoft, Apple, they all give donations to certain school districts and everything. And I think people need to utilize that. The school districts get a grant from the government. I mean, I'm not talking about spending the government's money, but if it's available, you know, you might want to take advantage of it. For education, like I said, I don't think we should pull any strings with this. There are other things, like I said, that are important with this, and I'm not having that conversation with that now, but like we're talking about education now, and we need to emphasize that as much as possible. When you go to your back to school nights, in the beginning of school year, most schools have back to school nights just to get you familiar with the teacher, and the teacher tells you how your child is doing up to that point. I mean, sometimes some people feel it's a waste of time, but you always have to take advantage of them because you want to know and let your child know that you are part of their lives. And I think that's part of it. There's no reason for a child to excel if they feel like there's nobody behind them, supporting them. And I think that's important in every aspect of a child's life, whether it be sports, education, just any type of extracurricular activities. It's funny. I mean, as you know, I'm running for Congress, but my daughter just came home yesterday talking about she wants to be president of her student association, and I just found that remarkable that she wants to take the effort to or make the effort to go do that. And like I said, I didn't push her. It's something she decided to do. She's only 9 years old, but I think she'd do well in it if accepted. I mean, it's a electoral process, and like anything, you have to vote. But I think she'll do well because she's very excited about what she knows, and she has a lot of plans. My other daughter used to be part of Philadelphia Soul. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's an arena football league that Bon Jovi used to own. And my daughter was wanted it. I'm sorry.
He doesn't own it anymore.
I'm sorry.
He doesn't own it anymore.
No, when they had that break in 2008, the end of the 2008 series, there was like a 2-year hiatus. He stepped out of it. Him and Richie Sambor. Yeah. Now Ron Jaworski owns it. Still Craig Spencer owns it, but now it's just Ron Jaworski. My daughter danced for them. And we went to all the games, and we had a lot of fun. And it was very exciting. I got to meet John, very nice man. A little short, but, I mean, he's always been one of my musical influences growing up. Ever since I got out of school, I always enjoyed Bon Jovi, seen him several times in concert. Then, like I said, I got to meet him, and my daughter danced for him, had her picture taken. It was very exciting. But these are the things that I'm saying. You have to support your children. And my daughter danced for him, and actually 2 of my daughters, my younger one I was just talking about as far as running for school president and stuff, she started to dance just as they were shutting down in 2008 after they won the arena football. What's that thing for football, the last game? Super Bowl. Arena Bowl, they call it. I'm sorry, I had a brain freeze there. But, yeah, Philadelphia Soul won it in 2008, and then they had a 2-year hiatus because there was a problem with the AFL, and they came back in 2010, and they've been doing it ever since. And my daughter was going to start back up dancing for him again, but it was just too much of a time constraint for myself and my wife to take them because we had to go all the way over to Philly every day. And it was enjoyable at the same time, but it just got to be too much with all our other stuff going on. But anyway, like the point I was trying to make is supporting your children both financially, like we all like to do, but also moral support, education, give them the best opportunities. If you find yourself in a school system that is lacking, they implemented a program, school choice, where you can actually choose to where your child goes, and the township that you live in has to pay for your child to go to another school. And I urge you to look into it, only because there are some bad school districts, and I'm sure the state is in the process of weeding them and correcting that situation. But in the meantime, you can choose where your child goes. There is a program called K-12. I'm sure you've seen it advertised on TV. What it is basically an online homeschool computer school process where you do the same thing that you would in class, but you're online. And I mean, it could be lucrative for you. It may not. It just depends on your situation and your abilities. I do know Comcast has a special program where you can get discounted internet just for school. Now, it runs slow, so you're not going to be playing any games or anything like my boys like to do, but it's good enough for school. It's very discounted. I think it's like $9-10 a month, but it's actual internet, and I mean your kids can do the school system. So there's no reason why you cannot do this, or why you cannot have your child excel. And you go to places like, they get kind of costly, I think, but Rent-A-Center or anything like that to rent a computer. I mean, you're actually paying 2 or 3 times the price, but at the same token, it breaks it down into cheaper monthly payments. But I mean, your Kmart's and Walmart's have those put together box computers that you can buy. I have my son build mine, so that way I know the parts are better. But those box computers work good as long as you don't start putting all that extra stuff on it and downloading everything. That'll get you through and help your child to get through this. But anyway, the K-12 program I was talking about, what that does is, I mean, like it says, it's K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade. And New Jersey was going to implement it this year. It's not approved yet. Now apparently it's going to be approved next year. So that's something you can look into. If you have a situation where your child is being bullied every day, which seems to be a major, major problem, or you don't want your children affected by drugs or anything like that could be happening in your school. Certain districts have that problem. I don't believe my school district does, but I'm sure it's everywhere. I haven't heard much about it. There are things out there going on that is going to correct this educational system. We just have to, it's a wait and see kind of thing. But in the meantime, there are other options for you. But everybody should look into the school choice. The point of this whole conversation is education is a key thing that's going to make our future better. A lot of these congressmen, they're older. They're not going to be around to suffer from everything they're putting us through now, or that they're going to put our children through. They're going to be gone. So they really don't care what they want. So that's what I'm saying. We need to get rid of all the old congressmen and get some new people in there and keep it going with fresh people every couple of years. I made an announcement yesterday at the editorial forum that, like I've told you guys before, I only plan on running for 4 terms if I get elected, and stay elected for 4 terms. I don't need to be in office any longer than 8 years, because I feel I have a job to do, and if I can't do it in 8 years, then I'm not going to do it at all. But if I do it in 8 years, then everybody's happy. We get the job done, and in 8 years you get somebody new in there. We don't need to beat a dead horse. If you remember back 18 years ago, that was Lo Biondo's platform. He wanted term limits, and a lot of Republicans were saying that. But like usual, Republicans mislead you, just like some of the Democrats. If you paid attention to the national conventions, they misled a lot of things they were saying. And even it was funny, even in their own forum, they went against their own people. If you remember the elections, during the convention, they were voting on certain things, and then they voted something and everyone said aye or nay, and then even though people said no, they said ayes have it on national TV. It was obvious to everybody, and then everyone argued about it, but no one contested it. They had 10 minutes to contest it, but nobody contested it. And I just felt, if they're going to dupe their own people, what do you think they're going to do to you when your eyes are closed? So that's one of the reasons why I pushed the fact that I'm independent, because I had the option, and I was actually leaning towards the Republican side. On paper, theory, it looks good. But in policy, in the way they vote, I didn't agree with it. And that's the problem I have with Lo Biondo, is he says everybody knows his issues, but where is it on paper? The only thing that we have is his past record, and his past record shows that he's against the people. I just posted something on my website today that I found that shows that Lo Biondo is he's voted against the middle class. This isn't me making this stuff up. This is what is out there, what he has voted for the past 18 years. Lo Biondo, you read the article, it was in the Asbury Park Press yesterday regarding our forum. It states, I clearly say, Lo Biondo may have been a good congressman, but this district doesn't need a good congressman. They need a great congressman, and that's what I'm looking to become. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm just sitting down across the table from everybody. Everyone had ideas. The problem is they had no idea how to do it. And if you listen to one of my opponents, they kept bringing up all kinds of things. The government's got to pay for this. The government's got to pay for that. And my question is, how? You know, we're a $16 trillion debt. How is the government going to pay for anything? It can't even pay for its own coffee in the morning, let alone some of these programs they're implementing. So we can't use that as a crutch. We just can't walk in there and say, you know, women have issues, so the government's got to take care of it. Well, there's no way the government can do it if it has no money. We have to work everything out. And women have a lot of issues, and the Republicans are beating them down because of those issues. They consider women second-class citizens. I think we're basically going back into the Renaissance because of the way they're thinking. But women are just as equal as men, just as equal as blacks or Hispanics. You know, everybody's the same in my eyes. You can't show prejudice to any one particular group. You can't show prejudice to any group, in my opinion. Everybody's the same. Everybody's a citizen of America, and everybody's a taxpayer if they work. And that's the key thing. They, especially as congressmen, how could they be going against their own people to put them in there to begin with? I just don't understand what their philosophies are with that. But I mean, even walking up to the thing yesterday, our forum yesterday, you know, Lo Biondo had his entourage. Schober had her handler. And it's funny that, like I talked to Schober on the telephone prior, she doesn't even make her own schedule. You know, her schedule's made out for her. And then somebody asked for her phone number yesterday, and she didn't even know her campaign phone number. She has to get everything off of her handler. Now, I can understand being tied up, but guess what? We've all been tied up in this campaign. But you still need to know your basic information. And I think we need to concentrate on what's important. Everyone realizes that jobs are important, but jobs are just a part of the economy. The economy is a multifaceted situation that we need to correct. We got taxes, we got jobs, we got reduction of spending, we have education. Everything revolves around each other, and you just can't sit down. We were down there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you can't have one person wasn't there for some reason. I don't know why. He couldn't make it, but everybody else was there, and you just can't sit down for that a period of time to go over everything completely. You know, as you know, I like to talk, and I could sit here and talk for a couple hours just on one subject, and that's just me. You have Lo Biondo, who speaks eloquently, knows just what to say. Obviously, he rehearsed his speech. But you got Schober over here. She kept talking and beating up jobs and how the government should pay for this and that. And then you had the other guys who kept saying what they had to say about the economy and everything. And I mean, it's fine. But like I said, everyone has an opinion. I've said this 100 times. If I said it once, you can go down to any 7-Eleven, Wow, Quick Check, anything that's near you, and start talking around the coffee stand, and everyone will have an opinion on what's necessary with the society today is what the government has to do. And that's fine. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone's entitled to it. But what we need are solutions. And Lo Biondo's, I came out point blank. I had one question to ask, and I asked him. And I said, do you not feel that by you not debating us, that you are... How much? Okay. Okay. I asked him point blank, do you not feel that what you're doing is voter suppression by not debating with us and allowing everybody to see what everyone else's options are or issues are? And he just come out and said everyone knows his issues. I don't know how. He has nothing posted on his website. But anyway, we're down to our last 30 seconds or so. I want to welcome you again to the show. I thank you for listening. Pay attention on, it's going to be repeated on our website, davidwbowen.com, or you can email me at bowen, the number 4, congress@gmail.com. I wish you guys the best. Have a good day.
You've been listening to Voice of an Independent Nation.